Kids today won't know what these are. Every kid knows what these are. What are you even talking about? What are you trying to say? Oh, kids today don't know what sticks that look like guns are. Of course they do. Probably even more now than back then. This my generation was better than new generations because we had sticks that looked like guns. Kids know what those are. Kids are playing Fortnite. They're playing Call of Duty. They're playing Halo. They know what guns are. They know that a stick that looks like a gun looks like a gun. This video brought to you by my YouTube members and patrons. Thank you guys. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another subreddit video. And today we are going to be taking a look at r/gatekeeping, a subreddit dedicated to people that just decide that no, my thing is the best and you're not allowed to be a part of it because you're a fake fan. You know, those kinds of people, the worst kinds of people. Very quickly before we begin, I just wanted to mention that YouTube members and patrons, you guys get an extra video every single week for as low as £1 a month. That equates to about 25p per video. So if you think that is worth it, please do consider joining, as it really helps support the channel. Other than that, let's get into the subreddit, shall we? This and no internet. Sorry, I can't disclose the location, unfortunately. Sorry. Mind Escape Retreat Center. Not hard to use AI in a screenshot of your photo these days. Super sad and gross when you can't share so others can support a business. It's not a secret outdoor wilderness spot. Honestly, if you had a spot like this, you know, a nice cute little retreat that you like going to, and you don't want it to be disturbed by, you know, lots of rowdy people that saw your TikTok and wanted to go and enjoy that, don't post about it. If you post about it, they'll find out what it is regardless. If you don't want people to see it and to go there, don't post about it. Obviously, if you're posting about it, you're doing so for attention. You could go to something like this and not get attention. In fact, I would argue that if you're going to a retreat to relax, your first thought shouldn't be, oh, how can I make this about me on TikTok? Just relax and have a nice time. And if you don't want people to go there, don't tell them about it. No one here is a real drug addict. I'm reading all of your guys' posts for the first time, and I'm just in awe. For real, I expected different. There's nothing wrong with it. It's definitely not a good thing to be a drug addict. It's 5:21 a.m. I've been waiting for my dealer for 2 f***ing hours, and it's cold as f***. I'm starting to get sick from heroin withdrawals, and don't even have any speed to calm me down, lol. Don't do drugs, kids. Cocaine sucks, waste of time and money. If you have never tried H, my only advice is don't. Not even once. Anyone trying to get you to do it is a piece of shit and not a real friend. Stop snitching, live your life. Wow, assuming no one on the drug subreddit is a drug addict except for you is probably the biggest humble brag I've ever heard. Yeah, this cat is delusional. You junkies aren't even proper junkies. I can tell because I know what it's like to be a real junkie. Could you imagine going to an Alcoholics Anonymous or an Addicts Anonymous or anything like that and being like, you guys aren't real alcoholics because I know what it's like to be a real alcoholic, or you guys aren't even doing the hardest drugs. You're not a drug addict. Okay, dude, whatever makes you feel better about yourself. When it comes to, things like this, being addicted or being mentally ill, people turn it into a competition so often. And I won't say that I never did that. When I was a teenager, you know, I also made it into a competition that I had depression and insomnia, you know? But it's not a competition, really. This competitive nature to know my mental health is worse than yours, no, my situation is worse than yours. It's just it doesn't actually make you superior. I get that it's, I guess our brains trying to make the best out of a situation we can, that yeah, I'm worse off, that makes me better. But it really doesn't. It really doesn't at all. This is not a cyclist. This, I don't know if this is AI or not, but it doesn't really make sense. And also the places she's cycling to also don't really make sense. So first of all, the lines, the little path don't connect. When she gets to coffee with friends, there's 3 lines coming off of that. They don't make sense. But that's cycling is going shopping, then grocery shopping, then the post office, then a coffee with friends, then dry cleaning, then the library, then a business meeting, then the museum, then a game, then going home to walk the dog, then going out on a date with dinner. Who is cycling to all of that in one day? How do you have the room on a bicycle bicycle to do other shopping and grocery shopping and go to the post office. 3 separate things that require a lot of space to carry. Also going dry cleaning, meaning you have to carry the clothes that require dry cleaning. Also going to a library, which means you're either returning or taking out books that you have to carry. Doing all of that on a day that you have a business meeting, so you are working, or like the implication is that you're working if you're going to a business meeting, but you're clearly not if you're going shopping, dry cleaning, post office, library. But also, who's cycling to a hot date with dinner? Like, if you're going out on a date, you know, the kind of date where you dress nice, you've got flowers, you've got wine. Who cycles to that? You can't cycle to a hot date in a pencil dress. Like, this whole meme doesn't make sense. But also, someone who cycles to all of those things is a cyclist. Someone who gets on a bike to cycle to places because it's more convenient than driving is a cyclist. By definition, someone who is cycling is a cyclist. If someone is on the road on a bike, they are a cyclist. Legally, by law, they are a cyclist. Account posting about anime with 1 million followers. Thinks anime is embarrassing and posts about anime just for clicks. This is most of the anime community nowadays, packed to the brim with tourists that are only here because it's popular. The second anime becomes uncool again, they'll go right back to shitting on it and those who love it openly. This is why we need to gatekeep. No, first of all, I really despise the term tourist that is used whenever talking about a fandom or community, right? People that watch anime are not tourists. They're watching anime. If they enjoy anime, if they have favorite animes and they watch anime regularly, they're an anime fan. They're not a tourist. Just because they don't watch your anime doesn't make them a tourist. Anime, right, is an animation style from Japan. By definition, anybody that enjoys any anime is an anime fan. But also, pretending that gatekeeping is gonna keep your community safe is just pure delusion. If people are gonna pretend to like anime and then when anime is not cool, go right back to hating on you for it, gatekeeping isn't gonna change that. If anything, you're going to make sure that people definitely hate on your community because you're gatekeeping your community. Gatekept communities aren't like safe from criticism. They get criticized the worst because it usually means that the people in those communities are shitty little bitch babies that can't handle other people liking the things they like, but not in the same way as them. That doesn't make you free from scrutiny. It opens you up to it. Kim, you did not make a mod. MC Creator doesn't count as making a mod. You need to code a mod and make the model in Blender. Actually model the mob. Now, by definition, if you edit a game's files or add files to a game, you have made a mod. By definition, right? A mod for a game is a modification for a game. Changing the textures in a game, that's a mod. Adding new textures for a game, that's a mod. Adding anything or changing anything to a game's base files is a mod. Simple as that. People who only read romance are not actual bookworms and should just go on Wattpad. Either you're a middle schooler or you're just not well read if you're always exclusively reading romance. Romantasy is a stupid genre and has ruined fantasy books. So, first post here. People that read only romance are still bookworms if they read a lot of books. And saying, just go on Wattpad. It's like, why? If the books that I want to read are not on Wattpad, why would I use Wattpad? If someone has written and published a romance book that I want to read, why would I be on Wattpad when that published book is the book that I want to read or enjoy reading? And if I read, you know, dozens of books every single year, I'm still a bookworm. I personally don't read that many romance books. I don't really get on with romance books. I love romance movies, don't really get on with romance books, but I do read a fair amount of books. People that read just as many books as me or more, but they're an exclusive one genre like romance, are still bookworms. They're still reading more books than me. Also, saying romantasy is a stupid genre and has ruined fantasy books, you could just not read romantasy. Like, there are still plenty of fantasy books that aren't centered around romance. They still exist. Romance fantasy books existing hasn't erased other fantasy books. You can just choose not to read the romance ones. There are plenty of really good fantasy books and books that are still being written today that either have a little bit of romance in them, or like, you know, none at all. So you've got the Inheritance Cycle, which are some books that I actually have on my shelf behind me. Those are some fantasy books that are relatively recent. They're really good. They have some romance in them, but they're not romantasy. They're just fantasy books with a bit of romance in them. Amazing books. The newest one, which is kind of a spin-off called Murtagh, is about a different character from the series. That book's got even less romance on it. Still a really good book. You've got the Witcher books also on the shelf behind me. They have romance in them, but they're not just about romance. They're amazing books. Really good. I wish the Netflix did a better job of the show. There are plenty of really good fantasy books that are still being written that aren't just centered around romance. And you can just not read the romance ones. There are still others. Dear men in dresses, my womanhood isn't a costume for you to appropriate. It is about biology and childbirth. No amount of surgery or makeup can erase that. If you weren't born with a vagina, you're not a woman. Facts. Strap in, y'all. I'm about to mansplain feminism to a woman. Gotta love TERFs. Nothing says feminism like defining women as just a vagina in a dress and makeup, whose value is measured by her capacity to get pregnant. We've come full circle. Honestly, I wish we had a better term than TERFs, because we refer to them as trans-exclusionary radical feminists, right? And this as a statement, I feel paints feminists in a bit of a bad light, because TERFs are not feminists, okay? As much as they pretend to be, you know, as much as J.K. Rowling claims to be a feminist, they're not feminists, because being a TERF and being transphobic are so heavily grounded in misogyny that there's no possible way that you can believe in it and be a feminist. There's no way. As gamers express concern about Borderlands 4 potentially costing $80, Gearbox chief Randy Pitchford says, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. That statement alone is enough to make me not want to buy the game. I'm sorry, but fans expressing concern about games being really expensive and not being able to afford them, just for a creator of games to go, nah, but you'll make it work. Basically admitting, I don't care. I'm exploiting my fans' love for a franchise to make more money. I will make my games more expensive regardless of fans' concerns because I know they'll buy it. What a shitty statement to make. This is such a sign of the downfall of AAA games, right? Because these games are getting so much more expensive, but these games aren't going up in quality, right? Look at probably one of the best games that has been made in the last decade. Baldur's Gate 3. Incredible, impeccable quality. Doesn't cost as much as a full AAA title. You know what AAA titles we've had instead? Slop. Dog shit rehashes of existing games. People don't want to be spending $80 on a game that's probably just going to be a reskin of a previous Borderlands. They want a good Borderlands game introducing new concepts for a price that they can afford, that is actually worth it for the content they're receiving. So many companies are going, well, you better get used to it because this is the new price of the game. And it's like, if I buy a PlayStation 5 and I can only afford to buy like 4 games before it costs the same amount as a PlayStation 5, and then when you go even further to that and you realize, hey, indie games are the only games that are actually worth buying anymore, and they go for like a third of the cost of a AAA game, it's no wonder people aren't buying AAA games anymore. So this was a post someone tried to post to r/gatekeeping and got, you can't contribute to this community yet. To make moderating this community easier, gatekeeping only allows people with an established reputation to contribute. And they were like, how ironic. And I mean, it is funny that, you know, gatekeeping gatekeeps who can post, but also at the same time, this person has negative 100 karma. And this is one of those cases where I actually agree with this as a concept, because there are so many bots on Reddit, so many repost bots, that it's unfathomably me. It's frustrating is what I was trying to say. Like, I actually agree. If you've got negative karma, chances are the things you're going to be contributing are not going to be great. If you've got negative 100 karma, you may well just be a troll, you know? Getting that level of negative karma is quite difficult to achieve. Like, I agree with this, because I follow r/damn that's interesting, and my god, if I see one more post that's just a bot posting a product that they have a link to them selling it, I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind. Just be like, I'm Canadian and they from here. You mean from Canada? Because yeah, that makes them Canadian. They're still Canadian if they're from Canada. Yeah, that is in fact how that works. Funny that. It's like going, Man, people be calling themselves America, but they're from Texas, New Mexico, or California. You're not American. You're basically Mexican. Like, nah, pretty sure they're still American. Gatekeeping how hard jokes hit. On a meme vid captioned, when you're autistic and sensitive to sound. LMAO, if you know people who are autistic, you'd get the joke 10 times more, LMAO. It's so much funnier. I have friends who are, and they're the best kinds of friends you can have, honestly. It's the superiority again. Like, no, you don't get the joke as much as I get the joke because I have autistic friends. Like, first of all, surely the people that are gonna get the joke the best are autistic people, right? If it's a joke about being autistic people are gonna get it the best. They're gonna find it the funniest because it's a shared experience. Second of all, anybody that has like more than 3 friends probably has an autistic friend. It's not exactly a rare condition. Most people have at least one autistic friend. And if you don't, chances are you are the autistic friend. Like, it's not rare. Autism isn't rare. A lot of people are on the spectrum. Bisexuals only allowed to celebrate until the 15th. After that, y'all gotta be quiet. I never said I hated y'all. Why we being like this? It's pride. Damn, y'all really don't like being told to be quiet. Teehee. Well, of course they don't. Of course people don't want to be told quiet. Of course, bisexual people don't want to be told you only get to participate in some of Pride. The rest of it's not for you. Like, yeah, people are gonna be annoyed about that. Telling them to be quiet because they don't get to share their experiences because only half of them is gay is shit. Do I need to tell you what the B in LGBT stands for? Lesbian, gay, bi, trans, plus? It's a part of Pride. And also, the amount of bi erasure, both in and outside of the queer community, is more than enough reason that bi people should absolutely be allowed to speak up the entirety of Pride. As a pan person, I go through a lot of the same stuff as bi people do. It doesn't make me any less queer because I could also date someone who is the opposite gender of me. I'm also non-binary, so I guess, you know, that changes things a little bit. But like, if I was cisgender and I was dating a woman, it wouldn't make me any less pan or a bi person any less bi. Bi people being in straight relationships are still bi. That's a part of being bisexual. It's literally a fundamental part of being bisexual is not being attracted to any singular gender. It fucking pisses me off when people are like, oh, you're only allowed to participate in half of Pride. The rest of it, you have to be quiet. Fucking why? Why am I any less entitled to Pride than you? Because you date half the amount of people that I would. Like, cool, I get the worst of both sides, right? I get the homophobes that are like, well, you're not straight enough. You're not part of us because you're not straight enough. And then you get the queer people that are like, well, you're not gay enough to be part of us because you're not fully gay. Like, can we all just fucking shut up and let people live their lives? Bi people are a part of Pride. They're a part of LGBTQ+, full stop. They are a part of it. Let them be a part of it and shut the fuck up. I didn't let my kids wear their Ramones t-shirts until they could name 6 songs and sing them to me. Same with their new Nirvana t-shirts. What a great way to just like ruin your potential children's interest in these bands, right? Oh, you want to wear a cool shirt? You're not allowed to until I say that you have qualified because you can name enough of their songs. Yeah, that's how you ruin the band for your child. You could have made this into a fun like bonding experience for your child, you know? My music tastes are so fundamentally influenced by my dad, right? The way that I grew up and the music that I listen to now, hugely influenced by the music that my dad listens to. But also, do you really think that Kurt Cobain or Joey Ramone give a shit that someone wears their t-shirts? I'll give you a little clue. Neither of those people give a shit. Neither of them do. But like, come on, if someone likes, I don't know, just a couple songs from an artist, you know, say someone only likes Smells Like Teen Spirit, or only likes Come As You Are, or only likes that's a hard song to say, Blitzkrieg Pop. If they only like one of those songs, they can still wear that artist's t-shirt. They can wear that artist's t-shirt anyway, because those artists had such a huge fundamental impact on pop culture as we know it, right? But being like, you're not allowed to wear that shirt unless you can name me every band member and 6 of their songs, that's gonna put people off the fucking artist. They're gonna be like, oh, well, I don't want to listen to this artist because the people that listen to it are fucking pretentious. Like, congratulations, you've pushed people away from an artist artist that they could have potentially liked because you were pretentious and gatekeepy. You've achieved nothing. Well done. Proud of you. And that goes for any gatekeeping. At the end of the day, that goes for all of it. Every single one. And that's where I'm going to end the video. So thank you very much for watching. If you would like to support me in making more content like this, then I have a Patreon in the description down below. Or equally, you can click on that join button on the channel to support me. It helps a lot more than you might realize, but by no means should you feel like you have to. I'm going to keep making content regardless. But a huge, massive special thank you to all of the wonderful YouTube members and patrons that do support me. All of your names are up on screen right now, and it genuinely helps so much, and it genuinely means so much. And you get an extra video every single week for as low as £1 a month. So if that's something you're interested in, please do consider it, as it really does help support the channel. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Peace out.